Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So the new Last Jedi trailer is out, and wow, I really wish I didn't watch this trailer because there are so many potential spoilers in it. So be warned, if you haven't watched this trailer and you don't want any spoilers, just don't watch it. But if you did watch it, here is our breakdown of the top 5 things we learned from the Last Jedi trailer. Number 1, Luke is afraid of Rey.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
Immediately after, it shows Kylo Ren, who, as we know, was formerly one of Luke's apprentices. Kylo was lured to the dark side by Snoke and destroyed Luke's school and killed many of his other students, forming his own faction called the Knights of Ren. This is also what drove Luke into hiding for all those years. This is interesting because it could possibly mean that this generation of Force users, Kylo and Rey, are more powerful than the Jedi Knights and Sith of old. The Sith that followed Darth Bane's rule of 2 believed that when there were too many Sith, the power of the dark side would become shared and therefore create weaker Sith lords. But if there are only 2, they would be able to gather all the dark side power for themselves. This is perhaps why Palpatine was able to take on Mace Windu and several Jedi Masters at the same time and even overpower Yoda. So, it should be interesting to see how high Kylo and Rey's midichlorian counts are. Number 2, Kylo Ren now has a pretty weird looking scar. Now, there was controversy with the release of the first trailer about how his scar was now moved to a different place compared to where Rey first hit him in The Force Awakens. Again, the scar seems like it's in the same place as the last trailer. Instead of using Bacta, which would have completely removed his scar, Kylo has decided to keep it. This makes sense because he's a warrior and scars intimidate other people. But it seems like the scar on his face is made out of some kind of synthetic material, and it's very similar to some of the parts that can be found on First Order Stormtrooper helmets. Now, we know that Kylo Ren will no longer be wearing a mask, which was in the first place his way of paying homage to Vader's synthetic look, so it's interesting that he went for a more synthetic scar instead of something more jagged and raw, which is normally what you would see with a dark side Force user. Number 3, Kylo Ren is on the way to kill Leia, or at least that's what the editing makes it look like. We once again see Kylo Ren's starfighter, which looks just like a Vulture droid from the Clone Wars, which is just an odd design choice. Plus, Vulture droids weren't exactly known to be the best starfighters. Anyway, Kylo Ren is heading towards the bridge of what looks like a Mon Calamari starcruiser. It could also be one of the newer Starhawks we heard about in the Aftermath series. Who knows? It looks like Kylo and Leia have connected through the Force, and there's definitely some hesitation on Kylo's side to pull the trigger. Does he do it or not? I don't know. On one hand, Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away, so killing her off might make things easier in the next film. On the other hand, well, we'll talk about that later. Snoke captures Rey, or maybe Rey goes to Snoke willingly after Luke decides to stop teaching her. Either way, Snoke is trying to bend her to his will. He's also pretty much normal sized and wearing a pretty pimpin' gold robe. As we saw in the last film, Rey was able to defeat Kylo Ren in lightsaber combat on Starkiller Base, and she hadn't had any training in the Force or lightsaber combat before that. It's pretty impressive. And from what we know about Darkside Force users, they usually love natural selection, and to me, it's kind of obvious that Snoke would rather train Rey, especially if Kylo Ren screws up again. My big question is, will Snoke train both of them at the same time? I mean, Snoke technically isn't a Sith Lord, so there's no rule of 2 to follow. Also, where is Luke Skywalker during this confrontation? Is he dead? Did he fight Snoke? Or did he just kind of fade away again? Should be interesting to see. Number 5, Rey, I'm guessing after being abandoned by Luke, asks for Kylo to help her out and essentially become her master. Notice here Kylo Ren's scar is completely different now, which is kind of weird. Chronologically, this could be before the starfighter scene with him, but who knows. The most interesting thing here is 2 half-trained Force users are potentially going to join forces and somehow teach each other. Now, the big question is, if Kylo accepts Rey, which it seems like he will, what will he teach her? Has Kylo gone fully to the dark side by killing Han and then killing Leia, or is it possible that he's gone more towards the light side of the Force and stopped at the last moment during the fighter scene and doesn't shoot Leia's ship? Unlike Han, Leia can connect with Kylo, and she's had a connection with him since he was a tiny fetus. That's definitely a special kind of connection. It was said that Episode 7 was supposed to be Han Solo's movie, and Episode 8 was supposed to be Luke Skywalker's movie, and Episode 9 was going to be Leia's movie. As we said before, Carrie Fisher did die, unfortunately, so we don't know if that's still going to be in the plans, but if that is still a part of the plan, it's very possible that she has survived, even if Kylo did launch a missile. Either way, I think it's very likely that both Kylo and Rey are now drifting more towards the gray side of the Force, and we're going to see, as the title hints, the last of the Jedi. Or this could just be the scene before Kylo betrays Rey to Snoke. Well guys, that's all we have for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification button for all your latest Star Wars news. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.